Wait a minute. Are you telling me that when you do your, you do this, that isn't the same affectation? That isn't the same as my, hey now?
There, you just said it again. And, you know, I asked you not to say it.
I can't say it off stage either?
It doesn't even exist. Use hey now in a sentence, Hank.
Hey now, that was real funny.
You know what, Hank? It's not even in the dictionary, hey now.
Okay, this is how I use hey now in a sentence, okay? You say, and of course, my sidekick Hank.
And of course, my sidekick Hank.
Hey now!
Hank?
That's a sentence.
Thanks for staying up later. Jeffrey Tambor is with us as we begin a run of shows from Los Angeles. He, of course, is Hank Kingsley on the Larry Sanders Show. And I think it's fair to say that unless it was your very first part in a feature film, The Deranged Lawyer with Pacino in Justice for All, prior to the Hank Kingsley breakthrough, you were a well-regarded character actor, but without a signature part. So this isn't just a good role to have. It's something that can fix you in people's minds.
Right. The hey now has sort of captured people's imagination.
It's the catchphrase of the 90s, I think.
Really? Well, that's good. That's great. Certainly, people say it a lot. I have it yelled from cars, and people are all past people, and they'll just say, "Hey now," like they recognize me. Yeah. And that's good. It's very new, very new. And I'm at times comfortable with it, and times uncomfortable with it. You know.
Is Hey Now sort of an oblique tribute to Hi-Yo, to Ed McMahon?
Yes. I think it's, I mean, Hank Kingsley is sort of the prototypical sidekick. And so, but you see, Ed did the show, and there's a clip where we actually are together in this bar.
Oh, my! Hi-yo!
Oh, God, this is so great. I can't believe it. It's my bachelor party, and it was something to have him on the show. He was, and he gave us our blessing. I mean, he just said that, he liked what we were doing, and he was fantastic.
But before you embarked on this, you went to the Tonight Show to observe McMahon, to try and do a little research, right?
Right. I went, and I sat up in the seats there, and I really learned within 10 seconds of watching Ed that, he's only about 15 feet away when he's watching Carson do the monologue, and he's right there. And so within 15 seconds, I had what Hank Kingsley was all about. He's totally there for him, totally appreciative. And I went, well, that's the guy. That's what Hank Kingsley does. You don't need a desk. You don't need an office. You don't need a secretary. That's his job. And that's what led me into really starting to investigate the role.
But that's really only half of the characterization, because the Sanders Show happens both on camera and off.
Right.
And the interesting part with all the characters, but in this case with Kingsley, is he's a different guy. When he comes on the air, something happens that pumps him up, and when he leaves, he's plainly different.
Yeah, when he leaves, he's a rank amateur. I mean, he has nothing. He has no wherewithal with life. I mean, that's what I think about him. I can't fathom a more differentiating aspect. On camera, professional, beautiful announcer, right there, intelligence. Off camera, amateur, doesn't know how to make it through. The Ensign Pulver of the Larry Sanders Show.
This is what I'm talking about. You've got to focus on this show. Here, now.
Okay, it's just my restaurant at this moment has a very specific odor that is not conducive to the art of fine dining. And, I'm in a lot of trouble. Ooh, what is it? Huh? No, nothing. That's, I don't think anybody's going to go to the grand opening.
Even the way he carries himself, though, his voice has more authority when he's on the air. Yeah. His physical carriage is a little bit different.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I mean, it's very, bass when he announces, and it's a little up here and a little more vulnerable when he's off camera.
You called Shandling, right, after you auditioned?
Yes.
What happened?
I got him in the gym, and I said, I really want to do this. And I've never done that before. But the audition went so well. I mean, I've only had 2 auditions in my life that really went like that. One was for Justice for All, and the other one was this one, where you just walk in. I mean, there's just about 10 roles in your life where you just say, this is mine. I know this guy. And the audition went so well with Gary. I mean, it just felt so right that I really wanted it, and I was getting 2 other offers at the time, and I called him, and later we talked about it, and I told him, I said, I've never done that. I've never called and said, I really want this job, and I said, I don't do that sort of thing, and he said, no, but Hank would.
How close is he to
me?
you? Yeah. See anything of yourself in him?
Sure. I mean, as an actor, you're stuck with the character, and the character's stuck with you, you know. And there's a childlike. I think if he's captured the imagination of anybody, it's because in 1993, which is cynical. I mean, let's face it, and has there's a sarcasm about our era now. Hank is an innocent. He's a naif, and he leads with his heart, and he's not afraid to show emotion. He's not afraid, he can't help it. And says, I mean, if you were having a party, let's say, everyone would say, oh, what are you doing? He would say, invite me. Please invite me. I mean, he would have no compunction, but he says exactly what's on the, there is no interference. And I think that's what's refreshing about him,
satire is different when you're doing it once, as opposed to when you're playing it out week to week.
Right.
It's much broader when you're doing it once. If you simply made this guy, let's say as you would, and appropriately for a skit on SNL, if you simply made this guy a big, broad buffoon, great for one sketch.
Right.
No good week to week.
No. And I don't think he's a buffoon. See, I think he's very intelligent. I think he is, René Descartes. I mean, I think he's just Robespierre. I think that's what's helping me a bit, because I actually still, when people say a buffoon, even in interview situations, I get, he's not a buffoon, because he means well. And once in a while, he has a very wise idea. I mean, in this one thing with, he had to remind Larry Sanders that Merv Griffin gave him a start, and he'll come up with the ultimate solution at times when he has, and other times he'll open a restaurant that has goes 360 degrees but doesn't have any windows. So I mean, there's a
yeah, but you get to look at all the other patrons.
Well, that's right, and it's also you and your food go on a adventure. You see, that's the moniker of that restaurant.
And some would say it was inspired to announce his engagement on the air, and then get married.
Yes, that was very interesting. It was very interesting in a lot of ways, because I was actually nervous. I was very nervous about it, and then it means a lot for this guy to get married. And then I gotta tell you, it's so interesting being an actor. I put myself so much into the wedding and taking the vows, and I'm married, that when the audience started laughing, I was a little offended. I mean, what could possibly be funny about this? So that's what I mean about Hank. I mean, I wasn't able to complete my vows because I was so overtaken with emotion, so he read the vows. Margaret, I thought I knew. Sorry. I thought I knew sunshine, but I thought
Margaret? I thought I knew sunshine, but I knew only shade. I thought I knew singing, but I knew only the tune. And I thought I knew love, but I only knew like.
Is there a difference from your standpoint in working with an actor as opposed to working with a comic?
Yeah. First of all, he's an actor, and that's a character that he's
Whereas
doing.
Seinfeld is really not an actor and doesn't have much pretense about that. He's playing himself. And
well, Gary is very much doing a character. It's very different from him. It's a little bit of a cynical guy, and it's very layered, as they say, and very well done. And he rehearses beautifully, and he's right there. Where I am in awe of Gary is on that Tonight Show when they do it at night, and I see him actually interview and then go back into the character as he's doing it. That is really a hat trick, and I'm nervous on that night because I don't know. You know, they give me a line and this and you there, but he is really a master, really good.
And even though Shandling's Larry Sanders sometimes beats Kingsley up because he's such an easy target and because that's what Sanders is about anyway, then there are times when he realizes he couldn't get by without this guy.
Yeah. I hope so. I think so in the professional sense. I think he does lock his office door. He does press the elevator thing when he sees him. Door closed, door closed, door closed.
I'm thinking of the episode where Larry's late and you save him.
Oh, that's right. That's right. And there's that, and then there's another one where I had to I wouldn't bail him out. I got mad at him, and he started to fumfer, and I just came in to save the day.
I found your book, if I may say, fascinating, and have enjoyed thoroughly talking to you about dogs and myself. Hank, have you ever had a dog? Hank has had a dog. Okay. Well, I thought you might have, in fact, had a dog. I thought you...
Actually, Doctor, maybe you could help me out. My dog, Felipe.
Felipe?
Yes.
I did not recall that.
Yes, Felipe Xavier Kingsley.
I see.
Yes, well, anyway, Doctor, my dog Felipe has a particular problem. He can never stop licking himself.
I believe that's learned behavior, Hank. When you stop, the dog will stop.
Does it get to the point sometimes where you're actually not standing outside yourself and saying, okay, so this is the role we're playing, where it actually begins to feel real?
Yeah, it does. It feels like you're a sidekick. And the guests who come on treat you like a sidekick. They treat you with a little more cachet than you actually have. You know, you go, well, I must be somebody. They're treating me awfully well. and there's a sort of a cachet that we're actually going out on the air that night. So it's fabulous, and I take full advantage of it. You know, I really love the role, really do.
He gets a notion now and then, some delusions of grandeur. He thinks he can sing. He thinks maybe he could host.
Well, he can. He's a great host. He's a great singer. He's a great lover, a great cook. He has no back off on any of that, and all of this is true. And he's not bald, and he's very handsome, and he's not old. He's very young. I mean, he just is out there. And that's another ingredient I like about him, because he's proud, you know. What goes up must come down. Spinning wheel got to go round. Talking about your troubles, it's a crying sin. Ride a painted pony, let the spinning wheel whine. Got no money, got no home. Spinning wheel, all alone.
Hank has got a pair of cojones the size of Texas. You gotta give him that.
Ride a painted pony, let the spinning wheel whine. Got no money, got no home.
Safe to say you've had some offbeat roles, especially on television.
Mm-hmm.
Cross-dressing judge.
Yeah, you know, that's an interesting story.
It's Hill Street.
Hill Street Blues. Yeah, I called up and I said, well, what's it look like? And they said, well, you better come in and have a costume fitting. And I said, I don't think so. Well, you have my suits. What do you need to do? And they said, you better come in. So I came in, and David Raleigh, the costume designer, had these dresses. And I said, okay, there must be some mistake. What are we doing? And he said, just try them on. So I tried on these series of dresses and these lovely pearls, and I hadn't seen the script. I didn't know what we were talking about, you know. And cut to the next thing. I am wearing a wonderful dress, very smart, with a single strand of pearls, very smart. I don't know if I had earrings. I think I had a nice set of earrings. I looked lovely, and I had some high heels, and I was cross-dressing for a couple of shows. Gender re-identification.
Now, if you're playing a cross-dresser,
Yes.
do you eventually acquire a vanity about how you look? Do you
No.
acquire an opinion? You know, I look good in heels, not in flats. I think my skirt should be at mid-calf,
That's
but my
good.
legs won't tolerate a mini.
No, but it was a very hot summer, and I appreciated the draft. So that was nice. And I had, I tell you, the first reaction to what happened with that was my back went out. Because, have you ever walked? No. Have you ever walked in high heels? Forgive the question.
Who's asking the questions here?
But high heels it's a trip. And I asked for, you know, high heels. So the back went out. And that was interesting.
You played a blind man
Yeah.
in a thing called Mr. Sunshine.
Yes.
And I read where you felt this guy should have been crankier
Yeah.
than they let you play him. What was the conflict?
The conflict is, I don't know, the conflict is committees. The conflict is, you know, common denominators, and let's have him irascible, but let's have him bald, let's have a beard. I mean, I liked him that he was, I liked the crankiness of him. I think that, you know, it just, it's the common denominator. We were doomed to begin with anyway. Here we are with a concept of a blind teacher, irascible at the beginning, and we were put up against Dallas. So
Even in a different time slot, it might be a tough sell, though, because
I think so.
I guess one of the rules of thumb for
Yeah.
network TV, maybe
Yeah.
not for a cable show
Yeah.
like Larry Sanders, but for network TV, you can't have the central character of the series not be likable. Now, I'm not saying that rule is correct, but it's usually the rule that they apply.
Yeah, but I think it's a rule made up by. I think it's backwards because the world needs sensitivity, and it needs someone who will stick up for their values, irascibility, if that's the word. I think this Roseanne is fabulous. I'm a great fan of the show, and I'm a great fan of hers, and she's unremitting in that character, and I like it. And we need a little bit of this, you know, because it's enough of watered down. I mean, it's a danger. It's a danger that we get people who are. I mean, we're all playing the same character. I'm blaming television or anything like that, but we need a viewpoint. I think one of the greatest shows that's ever been on the air is Buffalo Bill.
You know, you read my mind.
I
That was
did?
going to be my next question.
Yeah.
Now, this is one of my 5 or 6 favorite shows
Yeah.
ever. It
Yeah.
had a short run.
Unremitting.
Dabney Coleman as Buffalo
Unremitting.
Bill. Not just unlikable superficially,
Yeah.
but like a real dark moral center.
Absolutely.
You know, or amoral center,
Right.
where you really had to have misgivings about this guy, and I guess their research showed people rejected
Oh,
that.
research, SME-search. That's not real. I just don't, I think they're just a bunch of people with empty pages. I don't think there's anything written on those pages. I just don't think that's, I don't know how you research that, because what's the question? What's the question you could possibly ask? Degree of irascibility, 1 to 5. How do you talk about something like that? I'm sorry, it gets my dandruff up.
That's almost... That's wishful thinking.
Yes, thank you. But it does. I mean, I don't think this thing about the research shows. I think they go, we're going to go out on research, and I think they all lock their doors and say, we're researching, and they sit and stare at a wall. I don't think it can be research, because I don't know the question you can ask.
It's funny that you would mention Buffalo Bill as one of your favorite shows, of course, starring Dabney Coleman. He played the role of the boss in the film version of 9 to 5.
Right.
You get the same role in the TV sitcom version,
Right.
but not for long.
No, I was, my ass was fired from that show. Did you say fired on TV? And good, it was good. I mean, I learned from it. It was an interesting story when they decided to have me leave. I thought I was doing very well. I didn't like the scripts, but I never spoke up. I was too young, and I was too inexperienced, and very, very nervous. And so when they called me, I was doing a piece of theater down the Mark Taper Forum, and they were very, very, very sweet. And they said, we're going another way. And I went, oh, great. That's terrific. And I'd like to come down and talk to you about that. I mean, I thought they meant the writing. And I said, because I think we need to get deeper into this. And they said, no, we're going another way. And I went, interesting. I'd like to come down and talk to you about that, because if we're going to go another way, then I'd like to talk about the sets and the costumes, because after all, we're going another way. And he goes, no, we're going another way. And I went, does going another way mean you're... Oh, I see. So I was gone. And then I had to literally put down the phone and do a show. I had literally walk on and do this a play at the Flea in her ear. And I did beautifully, just very well. And the actress I was, my co-star for the evening, I said, she knew about what had happened. And I said, how did I do afterward? And she said, you did beautifully. Excellent. Only thing, not once in the 3 acts of the play did you ever lift your head. Other than that, it was very,
Somewhat despondent, were you?
Yeah, again, everyone has it. I'll probably have it again. I've had a wonderful shake at this. I love being an actor. Being fired, what's that? In the big realm, it's nothing. I learned from it. I should have opened my mouth.
Folks, you can see Jeffrey Tambor in his Emmy-nominated role as Hank Kingsley, Larry Sanders' sidekick on The Larry Sanders Show. Now,
that's right.
I've been doing this for more than 5 years.
And
I leave on January 1st.
Right.
I've never had a sidekick.
I know, and you need a sidekick.
Could you do me the honor? I
would be more than... I mean, I think it's a fitting way to... Hey now. We'll see you later.
He does it all.